Okay, so hopefully everything went smooth. Let me take a look. Oh, it looks like it did. Looks like it did. Very cool. Alright, well, this is awesome. I think everything went perfectly smooth the way that it's supposed to be. So that's awesome. And because I'm looking between, Streamlabs, and I'm looking between Streamlabs and YouTube to make sure that everything is going smoothly. And based on my going back and forth between Streamlabs and YouTube, it looks like everything's all right. Let me see here. Oh, okay, good. We're good. Okay. Yep, I just had to. I did that little hand sweep in order to make sure that the connection between Streamlabs and YouTube is working smoothly, and it looks like it is, which is awesome. So I'm super happy. And I gotta go ahead and say I need to give a special shout out right off the bat to Cinder Shadow. And the reason why is because if it wasn't for the advice that Cinder Shadow has been giving me in the last few days, I wouldn't have been able to get Streamlabs and YouTube to work together so well. So I just really wanted to make sure that I give Cinder Shadow the proper shout out because he has lots of experience with Streamlabs, and so he's been kind of helping me get that all figured out. And with the bit of advice that he gave me to start with for today was helping me make sure that Streamlabs and YouTube were just working smoothly together instead of, creating a big mess where I have like a weird waiting stream and a live stream that's not connecting with the waiting stream and so on and so forth. So if you're here, Cinder, thank you so much for... Oh, alright, I better put that on mute. Come on. What are you doing? Okay. Okay. So yeah, I just wanted to give that special shout out to Cinder because he was a great help for me to get this all working together right. So this is our new format for right now. Oh, that's okay, Cinder. I'm just happy to see you, man. And once again, I really appreciate all the help you've been giving me to get all this stuff set up. So thank you, man. Special shout out to you. I appreciate it. So, basically what's going on is that we're trying out the new setup, and obviously it's still the same camera, it's still the same ugly cardboard box, but we have our fancy borders, we have our little chat going off on the side screen. If there's any, people who subscribe or donate, that should be able to pop up. So we got all these cool new features now added onto the actual paint stream, which I'm really excited to kind of, get familiarized with. So obviously, as you can tell, I am not doing the next card in my set of 15 cards that I was going to do. I kind of wanted to, do something that I was a little more comfortable with when experimenting with the stream. Because this is, even though I did my experimental streams where it was just me kind of sitting back and talking with you guys, I really just found out that my MySpace page is still there. Oh man, MySpace is still a thing? Goodness gracious, wow. I don't even know if my MySpace page still exists. I don't think I'll ever go back on there ever again, so I couldn't possibly know. But I do remember those days. I remember a cute girl is the reason why I even started a MySpace page back in the early 2000s was because a cute girl that I liked told me to build one so that me and her could chat. But I haven't been on that thing in years, and I even remember mine was hacked and stuff like that too, but whatever. There was somebody who, hacked my profile and put, homosexual pictures all over the place on my profile, and it was all sorts of bad news bears, so... I think if I remember correctly, I gave up on MySpace when that happened, so whatever. But yeah, I wanted to kind of do something a little different. I figured I'd go back to my original style of, I do actually paint a lot of basic lands, and I was like, you know what, I think I want to paint a basic land today. I think that would help me familiarize myself a little bit better with the new streaming format, and it'll just kind of change up things. And another thing too is that I picked a basic land, which is actually kind of more complicated to paint than doing the other cards, the extended arts, because it's a bit more complicated because there's more with the way that I do it. Like, I know that there's a lot of people that like to keep in like the box and stuff like that for the island. But I don't like that. I actually prefer to extend the art all the way out, covering everything except for the water drop. So, and that's how I do extended arts for lands in particular. And it's actually funny because I find out that that's not necessarily the common case for a lot of people who alter basic lands. They generally will either completely I don't know. I've seen like a whole different bunch of styles, but I don't think I've ever really seen many people do it the way that I do it, and that's why I like doing it this style, is because I feel like it's relatively special to how I like to do things. So I do have to say something really quick, is that I gotta let you guys know that I'm going to be doing shorter streams, and that today's going to be the goal of that. Is I think I'm going to try to. I'm debating whether or not I want to go for only 1 hour or 2 hours. So here's what I think I'm going to do. We're going to go on this particular painting for about an hour, and depending on how I feel after about an hour has passed, I will decide to either end the stream or keep going. So, and I feel like that the maximum amount of time I'm willing to spend is 2 hours live. So we'll start with an hour. We'll see how I'm feeling after about an hour, and then depending on how I'm feeling, I'll either end the stream or I will extend it out to 2 hours instead. So let's go ahead and jump into that. And so obviously I've covered the entire thing in primer already. So let's go ahead, and we're just gonna start mixing colors right away. So I'm gonna get this guy off of the. Oh, and another thing. Well, I mean, I can talk about it a little bit while I am mixing my colors. So something interesting that I didn't really think about until I actually. Oh man, that sucks, Cinder. I'm sorry to hear that, man. Go get yourself some clean clothes, dude. Aw, poor kid. I hope in all seriousness, I hope he's okay. I hope he's feeling all right. Uh, but oh yeah, by the way, Rebecca, go join Cinder's Discord. It's pretty cool. It's just starting, but we're trying to get it all running, and I joined today. So yeah, get in there, girl. So the thing I was gonna say was that this island that I'm painting today, it's actually really interesting because I didn't realize it until after I had already started covering it in primer, like after I picked it out and then started the primer process. I totally forgot that I have actually painted this very specific island before. By the way, I'm setting up a Patholo Green here because I know that I'm going to need it based on past experiences with many other islands. But I realized after I'd already put on the primer that this island that I'm painting is something I've actually painted before. And it, like I said, it didn't occur to me until I started covering it in primer. But it turns out that this island is actually the second magic card I ever painted. And it was so long ago that I like I said, I totally forgot. So, that's kind of interesting, and it'll be kind of fun because the island the island that is this exact same art that I painted in the past, it was so early in my experience as painting that even though it looks relatively nice, I can definitely tell where it has all of these early flaws that I was very like showing my inexperience in painting. So it'll be kind of cool to basically do the same piece over again and then look it over and kind of compare it to what it used to be in the past. So I think this is, going to be a interesting reflective experience based on the fact that I've done it before. I'm good now. The throwing up is an ongoing problem after he feeds. We hope he grows out of it. Interesting. Is it something you might have to take him to go see a doctor about? Because that could be like a nutritional problem. So The only reason I'm saying this is because I actually have experience with nutritional deficiencies. And something that happens with my body is sometimes when my body is not able to absorb certain types of vitamins or nutrients, my body will just expel whatever it can't absorb. So, and the thing is that it's not necessarily in the form of vomiting. I don't want to go into any kind of major details about that, but it's not necessarily vomiting for me, but my body does expel whatever it can't absorb. And the thing is that because of the nutritional deficiencies that I have to like take special vitamins to get those, that nutritional value in my system. So it's possible that your son might have a situation like that where his body is not comfortably absorbing the nutrition and is thus expelling it as fast as possible. And if it's related to vomit, it could be a major problem. So I would, I mean, considering you're kind of used to having various different medical issues with your son, I feel like you guys are probably doing a good job on staying on top of that. But I just thought that if it's not something that you guys were thinking about right away, that could be an issue, and you might want to look into it, buddy. Um, so yeah, just just trying to give you some info that I know based on my personal life experiences. But I hope it works out, and I hope that it gets taken care of, and I hope that your son stays safe. Gotta keep that little Cinder, making sure he's doing okay, All right, so the first thing I want to do is I'm going to kind of start making a mixture of my Phthalo Green with my blue, and he got his trach out, so that might have some. Yeah, that's also a possibility. That might be a good point, Rebecca. I completely forgot about that. That's something that I was aware of, but I just forgot. So it could be that his body is just not completely comfortable with breaking down food. Like you said, he's so used to having it fed through a trach that he might not necessarily his body might not necessarily be used to it. So it could be fine. But yeah, I'm just making sure the whole Cinder family's doing okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start mixing some of this blue and this Phthalo Green. And the goal is to kind of get like a greenish bluish color, which I'll probably be lightening with some white for different purposes. So let's go ahead and just kind of like start with a little bit of each kind, and we'll see where it goes from there. So just kind of mixing these two together. And the thing is that when I'm mixing the dark blue and also the dark Phthalo Green, it's really hard to tell how well they're mixing together because it's so dark. It's almost like a blackish color. I can just barely tell a little bit based on the me swiping at the white of the palette just to kind of get a comparison. So, but I know it's not going to be exactly what I want. So I'm going to go ahead right away and take some of this this interesting blue color that I've created here, and I'm going to throw it off to the side. And I'm just going to go ahead and immediately start mixing some white in with it. Yeah, that's probably what it is, Rebecca. You're probably right. I was just saying the whole expelling thing because that's a particular issue I've had all my life. And like I said, it's not necessarily through vomiting, but it's that my body just has problems with absorbing nutrients, and it freaks me out when I see other people that have similar problems because it's not fun. It's really not. Because vitamin deficiencies are not cool. But yeah, but I'm sure he'll be fine. I'm sure that he's just adjusting to the getting used to life outside of being cared for in a hospital. So it's just going to take some time with him, and that's totally fine. I really hope all the best for his kid. And yeah. Let's see here. This blue looks so nice. I think I might actually test it out a little bit. Once I added the white, it lightened up so nicely. So nicely. So we're just going to go ahead and try this out because I think it'll mix with some of the higher coloring on the island here. So let's go ahead and kind of play with it a little bit and we'll see where it takes us. Okay. So it's looking like it's probably just a little bit dark, like too dark. Um, it's let's see. I might either need to add more blue or maybe a little bit more white too. I'm not 100% sure yet. Like I said, it's one of those things where I'll have to kind of like lay it down, experiment with it, kind of get it to where I want. And the more I'm spreading it out, the more I'm realizing it probably needs more white, not so much blue. So I'm just kind of going to spread it out a little bit thinner just to see if that kind of changes up the overall shading of it. Nice and thin like that. There we go. So, way too dark. Way too dark. Yeah, even in the camera you can see it from a mile away. So we're gonna change that up. We're gonna add some more, probably some more white. And it'll actually be nice because even though this darker hue is on here, it'll help make the lighter colors stand out just a little bit better. That's why I'm not afraid of the fact that I added that right onto the card. And the spreading it thin will also make it so that it won't be showing as heavily through the rest of it. Like when I add in the new color, I mean, it won't be like seeping through the new color and darkening it. Which can sometimes be an issue. Like sometimes that happens with like when you have colors that use a lot of black. So we're just going to kind of get that off. And I'm just trying to get a good solid blob of white here. Just to kind of really mix that in. So, let's see. I still don't think that it's light enough at this hue. I'm probably going to just add some more white to it. Because it's only just a little bit lighter than the blue that I made previously. So let's just go ahead and add some more to it, just to kind of get that more white color in there. And it'll turn it more into a proper sky blue color, which is what we need for this particular card. And what's really interesting is that this card, because I painted it before, and when I did it before, I did it all with aquamarine pretty much, and like different scaling shades of aquamarine. And the thing that's really interesting is that even though the colors are kind of off on the original version that I made, it still looks really nice. Like like I actually, out of the like 3 really early pieces that I kept, it's one of the really nicer ones because even though it's a little bit too dark, it still meshes really well with the rest of it. So, you know, it'll be kind of interesting to kind of work with that style of color again for this one. Because I have a lot more, just a little more experience with mixing colors and having that kind of proper lighting technique and coordinating the colors with the rest of the art on the card. So I'm really excited to just kind of really get this card to look a lot more close to what the art was originally supposed to be, because it still looked nice from previous, but I just really want to see what. Ooh, now that, my friends, is spot on. Look at that. Look at that. Whoop. Hold on. Let me bring it down. Let me get some light going here. There we go. Look at that. Look how close that is. The only thing is that there's a line right there that I can see in the camera. That hey, Richard Lash, good to see you, man. Welcome to the stream. I'm painting an island today. Thought I'd kind of change it up on everybody. I was thinking also that maybe it might be kind of like, while I was kind of doing this, and I was talking about how that I'm changing it up merely to just kind of experiment with the streaming capabilities by doing a basic land instead of like the other normal cards that I was doing. I was thinking maybe because, you know, booster packs generally have like what, like 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 a land and like an insert or something. I was thinking like maybe I could paint a land like this and also include it in the booster pack, and then maybe also have like I don't know, like a token or something. Because I have actually painted tokens before. I've only done a couple of them though. Actually, maybe I've only done one. I can't remember exactly. I did a I painted a token card actually specifically for an old friend of mine, and man cave. Good to see you, dude. Glad to have you in here, man. um, I had a friend who really liked what is it, the Thopters and the Servos from Kaladesh. And so what I did for him was I actually painted a servo token for him for his birthday. Gave that to him as a birthday gift. And I was really sad because I didn't have any, what's it called? I didn't have any of the Thopter tokens, which is actually what he really, really wanted. But I did a servo token because he said that was his second favorite. So when I gave it to him, I was like, hey, like I really wanted to do a Thopter, but I couldn't find any. Here's a servo. And he was like, oh my god, I don't care. Like, this is exactly what I wanted. Like, I love Kaladesh, and I love the servos, and blah, 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 blah. And so he really liked it a lot, and that was a lot of fun to do. I did that special for him. And I don't really hang out with him much anymore, which is too bad because he was a really cool guy. He was actually... I used to do Dungeons and Dragons, and he was actually the dungeon master for our Dungeons and Dragons game. And he's a really smart guy. And he was super nice, and he was a great dungeon master. Like, I actually tried being a dungeon master for a while, and the whole thing fell apart. So I basically was like, well, I'm never going to be a dungeon master ever again because I can't even, keep a group together and all this stuff. But I played Dungeons and Dragons with that guy being my dungeon master for, I think, a little bit over a whole year. Like, I think we had that group together for maybe more than a year. And what made the group fall apart was, I think, like 2 or 3 of the guys that I was part in that group still play together, but I eventually left because I started getting way too busy. I can't remember exactly what I was doing. I had like a really busy summer, and I had to basically say like, hey guys, like this summer I'm not going to be able to, go back to doing Dungeons and Dragons. Like I have all this stuff going on and blah, 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 blah. And our schedules didn't really link up anymore, so I ended up just kind of quitting. And, I kind of stuck with it for a few extra games because they're like, oh, like, we'll do a whole thing where we'll set up a storyline where you have to leave and stuff like that. And I ended up playing for 3 extra games before we actually had that properly set up. So, and it was fine. I didn't mind because I really legitimately enjoyed, playing with those guys and spending time with them. But it just wasn't meant to work out. And that was, like, back in, like, 2017 when I left them. So, and also another part of it, too, was that was when I was starting to get into painting. So I also wanted to kind of have more time to paint. So I was, like, basically, like, trying to choose between playing Dungeons and Dragons on almost every day I have off versus painting, and I was like, well, I really want to do this painting, so that's kind of what happened with that. And I mean, like I said, like it was fun for what it was, but I had to kind of go my own way, and I would never, they were a good group. Like it was not because of them at all. It was literally just because of my own personal lifestyle and things like that. So yeah. Let's see. My new character, Puddles, the Kobold Rogue in the D&D. Nice, Richard. I remember you mentioned a couple times that you were starting into a new campaign and stuff like that. You're kind of talking about it here and there. That's pretty cool, dude. Like, I used to play a, what was it? I was a half-elf bard woman. And that was a lot of fun. I actually played, when I was playing with those guys, we actually ended up having, 3 or 4 different campaigns. And but the last campaign I was a part of, I was a half elf woman, and very sexy. I was a very sexy lady, and the whole thing about my character was I was a bard, and my goal was that I was trying to become a super famous bardic pop star. Like that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to like perform and sing for the masses. So that's what my character was built on. And I carried around a lute and played all sorts of music everywhere I went, and I flirted with everybody. And the whole thing was like, so my character was the whole thing was my character was supposedly a lesbian, but she flirted with everybody. Like, and she didn't even care. Like, she would like flirt with like ugly men, old men, like older women, younger women. She would even like flirt with like weird there was a character who joined our team who was like what do they call they're like the Dragonborn, who were like the lizard people. And she flirted with that guy too. Like, she didn't care. It was really funny. And we had a bunch of like really funny ongoing jokes in that game too. It was a lot. We had a good time. It was just a bunch of bros having a great time playing D&D and stuff like that. So I mean, I definitely miss it sometimes, but like I said, there were other things going on in my life, and I had to move on. But yeah, I even remember we had this joke about like, because my character had like this obsession with being treated like, because she comes from like it's kind of hard to explain. She was basically like raised as like royalty. And even though she wasn't actually really royalty, but she was raised to be like royalty because the woman who sought after her care was like actually from like a like the world of the Fae, and she was actually like royalty from where she came from, but she like fled to like the regular world or the mortal realm or whatever. And but she still had like all these like mentalities of like, being ladylike and living in like a court and stuff like that with other royalty. So my character was like raised by she was raised by an Eladrin from the world of the Fae. She was raised to be ladylike and like a court woman. And so she has like this obsession with like being treated like royalty, even though she isn't actually royalty. And it's so funny because we had like these ongoing jokes about like like, for example, my character was always like obsessed with having a shower, but the ongoing joke is no matter where we went, we couldn't find showers anywhere. So there were no showers. And there was this really great thing where like one of the very first places we went to was like literally a slum. And like we ended up staying in this like really gross bar that was like in like the dirtiest area of this slum. And she like woke up after like we had like a really long battle, and we were all like tired and sweaty and gross. And like my character, she was like I need a shower. And like the characters were like, I don't know what a shower is, but like we got a bathhouse out back. And she's like, oh, wonderful, like at least there's running water. And he's like, running water? No, we don't have running water. We got a bucket. And he like slams a bucket on the bar, and he's like, here's your bucket, like take your bucket. And she's like, but I need like running water from like an actual like proper source of running water. What can I do about that? Where's the nearest like bathhouse? And he's like, well, you can drill holes in the bucket. Fill up the bucket and drill holes in it, and you can put yourself underneath the whole bucket. It should be fine. It was so ridiculous. So we had like jokes about buckets all the time. Like, for example, like like there was a time where like I got so obsessed with the idea of trying to use a bucket like a shower. I started carrying a bucket in my inventory wherever I went. So like so like what would happen is we would get into situations where like we would need to carry something, but we wouldn't have any space in it for our inventory, and I'd be like, I got a bucket! And, like, there was one time we went into, like, a cave, and we found, like, a whole bunch of gunpowder, but we didn't have any way to carry it out. So I started, like, putting all the gunpowder in the bucket, and walking out of the cave with the gunpowder in my bucket. And what I didn't realize is I totally forgot that we had drilled holes into the bucket. And so I ended up unintentionally leaving a line of gunpowder from, like, where we were walking to all the way back to the cave. So then there was still half of, like, the bucket of gunpowder left, so we dumped it out to, like, make an explosive. And we lit it on fire. And then fire goes all along the line of the gunpowder that we didn't realize was left behind by the bucket. And we just blew a fat hole in the cave that had all the gunpowder, and the whole mountain just exploded. It was so terrible because our dungeon master was actually, like, not expecting us to have all that happen. So we had all these maps planned out for us to, like, go back into the cave to, like, unlock other areas and fight certain things and get loot. But because of that small situation we created and we blew up the whole damn mountain, he had to throw away, like, 5 maps that he made with, like, loot and enemies and boss monsters. It was so funny. And he's like, fine, guys, I guess we won't go back to the mountain. Let me just throw something together. And he just, like, whips out his sketchbook and he starts, like, trying desperately to throw a campaign together. It was so hilarious. Oh, man, good times. We just caused all sorts of hell for him. It was great. Oh, man. I do miss D&D sometimes. I really do. Yeah, oh, okay, Richard, you play a Dragonborn Paladin? Cool. Yeah, they're tough dudes. Like, very tough dudes. Definitely get a lot of credit about that, because, they're just tough, man. Like I said, we had, like, a Dragonborn. I think he was, like, a monk or something. He was pretty strong. Like, you could not kill him. Just tough individual who ran into things like no other. And that was the thing, too, is also, like, our team would sabotage stuff all the time, like, by, like, not even on purpose, like, we would just accidentally, like, throw a wrench in our DM's plans all the time. We had a 2-player team, a barbarian that thought he was a wizard casting spells, and a hard that fed the delusion. That's hilarious. I always love playing with people who do weird stuff like that, where they just, like, they build a character that is supposed to be really good at one thing, but they do something that is just absolutely the opposite from anything they should ever be doing. And thus they get, like, all these, like, negative bonuses for all sorts of things like that. It's so hilarious. Alright, let me see if I can kind of get a bit of a darker color going here. I'm just using the previous Patholo Blue and Green mix to kind of see if I can shade this upper area up here to just be a little bit darker to better match the just like the darker coloration going on that's further up at the top in this area. The group is pretty cool. We have 3 different things going with 3 different DMs. Oh, that's neat. Yeah, like, that was also something that was happening for a little while with my group, too, was we had another, one of the players that I used to play with, was also kind of trying to make his own, game. And we played a few rounds of it, but he realized that it was, like, a little bit more work than what he was expecting. So he decided that he wanted to put it on hold until we finished, like, the campaign that we were working on at that time. And I don't think we ever went back to it. I can't remember if we did much after that. But, you know, it was a good effort on his part. He was trying really hard. And we were definitely messing with him a lot, too. Like, our group is very... we like to kind of troll one another, like, as best as we can. Like, sometimes it's unintentional, but sometimes we will, like, purposely, like, give each other a bad time in our games. Like, for example, like I said, with our main dungeon master, he he would always come up with these really intricate ideas of like how everything was going to generally go, and he was very good at like changing things on the fly. But like he would still always kind of have like a general flow to everything, and it was very common for us to just like mess everything up. Like I told you that story about us blowing up the whole mountain, and like he was literally good building like he was expecting that that mountain was going to like stick around for like the next like 4 or 5 games that we were going to be doing. And like he planned like tons and tons of material for it, and then we just blew it all to hell with gunpowder. It was so funny. But yeah, we had a great time. It was so good. I even did a drawing of because like I have a sketchbook and I do all sorts of different sketches and stuff like that for painting as well as just kind of doodling as well. And I actually painted my character. Painted, not painted. I actually sketched out my character on paper. And I even have like I even added in the little bucket that we had all sorts of running jokes about. We had other really good running jokes in that game too. Like there was one about we had like there was one where we what was it? We were kind of like raiding a dungeon, and like he had like these weird elemental creatures that were like the guardians of this dungeon, and they weren't like hostile or anything. Like in fact, actually, they ended up being really nice and like helping us out. But he didn't know like how to like describe them because they were these like weird water elementals, but they didn't have like proper names. And like I think it was that they had a proper name, but he couldn't like reveal what the name of them was for some particular storytelling reason. So like he was trying to like kind of describe them to us, and he was like, "Yeah, they're like healthy, you know, jiggly, bouncing bloobs." And we were just like, "What? Like, excuse me? We're trying to..." It was so funny because we just had this, like, image in our head of something that was just, like, we just, like, had this image in our head that was just, like, not at all what these creatures were supposed to be. So we were, like, making all these hilarious, like, adult jokes about these elementals that were trying to help us out. We're like, no, it's okay, we get it, they're healthy, they're bouncing, they're jiggling, they're you know, they're healthy, bouncing bloobs. We get it, it's okay. And he was like, no, it's not like that. We're like, no, it's okay, we get it, it's totally cool. And we would often, like, recollect to it, like, oh yeah, remember those really amazing looking bloobs? Oh man, they were so jiggly. So beautiful. The healthy, beautiful, bountiful bloobs. Oh man, too good. Yeah. I should check in with them and see how they're doing. It's been a long time. Let's see, I gotta catch up with you guys. Even once invented the over-the-shoulder boulder thrower. Nice. Is that like a bazooka? That sounds like a shoulder-mounted like catapult or something. Sounds amazing. I remember like one time seeing like there was this guy that I think I followed him on like a what was it? It was like back in the days of like 4chan. There was like a community that was all about like a community in 4chan that was all about playing role-playing games and Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that. And there was this guy who was like a Dungeons and Dragons like engineer, and he would basically like take items in the game and like engineer them to be like way better than what they already are. And like he would use like the science of the game. Like I remember he did this one thing where he built like a crossbow that would like take bags of holding and then turn them inside out and put them on the ends of arrows, and they would literally be like arrows of black holes or something like that. It was crazy. Kobold sounds interesting. Yeah, especially with that knowledge of Draconic language. Yeah. I didn't even know kobolds were a playable class. That's actually kind of cool to me. So I'm kind of adding in just a little bit of the darker ultramarine color, because I think that based on how this looks, it kind of gets darker the higher up it goes. So I'm just kind of adding in that extra bit of ultramarine to just kind of darken it close to the top. And I do want to spread it out nice and thin because I don't want it to be too dark. There we go. So I'm not really mixing any new colors yet, just kind of just, you know, meshing all the colors together just to make it work a little bit better. And I am planning to do some white as well. And the white is going to do a few different things. It's going to lighten up the coloration closer towards the border here so that it doesn't look so awkwardly line-like. And also the white is going to help add the streaks of white off to the sides that look kind of like streaming clouds. Let me see. Almost killed a level 1 cleric with a cupcake. Like you put it in like a catapult and like used it as a weapon. I one time, oh god, I haven't thought about that in such a long time. We were one time in a dungeon where we had to, like, shoot things at a distance. Like, they were, I can't remember what it was, but it was like we were fighting aerial monsters, and they, like, we couldn't, like, reach them, so we had to, like, find a way to, like, kill them at a distance. And the thing is that, like, almost all of our characters didn't have, like, magic or weapons that could be, like, we didn't have any, like, bows or crossbows or anything like that. And, so what happened was, basically, we had to, like, make shift with what we had. And we were kind of, like, looking in our inventory to find things that we could, like, throw at a distance that would, like, help us deal with the situation, because they were these, like, annoying monsters that were attacking us at a distance. And what I ended up doing was I basically, like, I pulled, like, basically right before we went into this dungeon, we were out in a garden grove where there were, like, fruit trees and stuff like that. And I had managed to pick up some apples. And I remember, like, pulling out an apple and throwing it, like, at this monster that was flying at us and, like, trying to kill us. And I ended up rolling, like, a nat 20 on my apple throw. and I literally, like, threw this apple at this flying monster and rolled a nat 20. And just murdered it with an apple. It was so great. I also had, like, the thing is that character that did that, I played, like, 3 different characters at the time, like, across different storylines and things like that. And this character that I played that murdered this monster with an apple was, like, he had, like, abilities to, like, he had bonuses for, like, landing, like, criticals and things like that. So it was like, what ended up happening was when I rolled that nat 20 that for that apple throw, I got a whole bunch of bonuses, which, like, because, like, otherwise the apple wouldn't have dealt much damage at all. But all the bonuses I had for, like critical strikes and things like that just murdered the monster that was flying with just an apple. It was amazing. Let's see. Came into... That's all good, Troll Warrior. You can come in whenever you feel like, and it's always fun. It's always a lot of fun to have around here. Magic resize of rock to be fired from musket. When it leaves, it starts to come back to regular size? That's interesting. Threw and did 1d4 plus 4. That's not bad. That's a lot of damage, actually. Say an apple a day keeps the monsters away. There you go, Richard. Yep. I murdered that thing with that apple. That was a good one. I'll never forget that. So much fun. Yeah, like I said, I kind of miss playing with that play group sometimes. They were a good crowd. They really were. So I'm just still trying to blend in my blues here, and I'm reintroducing the light blue color that I've made, and I'm just kind of trying to go over the darker streaks that are closer to the art box, because they kind of like had this awkward dark blue coloration that didn't quite match right, and so I'm trying to fix that. And it does look like it's coming together, but I also know that the white is going to probably help the most when I really get into it. So that'll probably be the next thing I introduce after I do a little bit more of this blue shading that I'm putting in here. And I'm just kind of trying to be thick with it in this particular spot, because the darker areas will show through the paint if I don't kind of thicken the lighter color on top. So that's all I'm doing right now, just kind of really getting it in there. And it's kind of nice because I have the darker blue contrast closer to the top, so it does look like it's getting darker as it gets further away, which is kind of how a sky of, this particular kind would be. So I think that looks pretty good. Just kind of like that, kind of just misting it across, getting a natural fade to it as I go further up. There we go. I think that looks good. So now I'm going to actually implement some white coloration here. So I'm wetting my brush. And, hey, Bo, good to see you, man. Yeah, I'm feeling much better. I mean, clearly, I'll be honest, I was actually worried that I wasn't going to feel good today, but I woke up feeling just fine. It was kind of rough sleeping, but I feel good. I feel just fine. Kind of just relaxed at the beginning of the day, took it easy, and I feel great. So here I am painting away, and I didn't want to. I really didn't want to take another day off. I really wanted to get back into this painting stuff, and just I wanted to show the dedication to you guys. Like I mean, if I don't make a habit out of because I mean I do want to do this. But I'm also aware that, I do have to, like, make a habit out of doing this and doing what I can to show that this is something regular that I want to do. So that's another thing about painting today, too, is I didn't want to have to, like, take another day off. This white is way too thick. I'm probably going to have to lighten it. I didn't want to take another day off, and but like I said, it's also good that I feel good, and if I honestly was not feeling good, I would sadly take another day off from streaming, but I feel fine. Like, I feel totally good. And that's what that's all about. I'm just kind of doing a basic land art today, instead of continuing on with the booster pack style that I was doing. And I just wanted to I wanted to change it up, and a part of it too is also that the goal of changing it up was because I was expecting that this stream was going to have some issues, and it's not actually. Everything's going really smooth. But I was expecting that if there were some issues, that I wanted to be able to handle them properly, and if I wanted to do that, I wanted to make sure that I was doing something that I was a little more comfortable with doing, rather than the other stuff. And I mean, I am more comfortable with doing landscapes. I actually really enjoy painting landscapes and doing land alters and extended arts a lot. It's very fun for me. I don't know. I think that hold on, I need to grab some more white here. I think that I just really enjoy doing landscapes a lot, and it's not necessarily because they're easier, because actually I feel like the landscapes take a lot more work because I'm painting a lot more of the card than the normal, like extended arts that I do. So, but it's a little more in my comfort zone, I guess. Even though it's just a slight amount of more work, I'm more comfortable with it, which is why I'm working with this today instead of doing the other kind. Dang game. Level 1 paladin taking on 5 level 3 constructs. Ooh, that's scary. That's scary, man. I mean, paladins are pretty tough, so I mean, I can kind of understand how you probably got away with that. But still, like I'd be afraid of dying to that kind of stuff. A little too much white there, but that's okay. Yeah, I remember a couple of times where my play group, like we had some situations where we would get in a little bit above our heads. But what's really good is, here's what I've learned about playing Dungeons and Dragons. If you're playing Dungeons and Dragons and you get in way above your head and you die very quickly, 9 times out of 10, it doesn't mean that you're a bad player. It means that you have a bad dungeon master. Because the thing is that like Dungeons and Dragons is supposed to be about having fun. And that's why it's such a great game, is because it's centered around having fun, not necessarily, like, you know, the ideal build, or it's not like a competition or anything like that. But, like, your dungeon master always has the ability to, like, fudge dice rolls and fudge, like, rules and things like that. Like, that's always something that a dungeon master has the ability to do. So, like, if you're playing with a dungeon master who, like, puts you in a situation where you're way over your head, and then he lets you die, that doesn't sound like a very fun dungeon master to play with. Like, it sounds like he doesn't really care about the people he's playing with. So, but, like, that's also what the thing is, too, is, like, when you get into stuff like that, when you're way above your head, but your dungeon master makes sure that everything goes, like, smoothly, and it's not, like, this big problem, like, that's a lot of fun. Like, I remember, because, like I said, the guy that I used to play Dungeons and Dragons, like, my dungeon master, he was probably, because I've had a few dungeon masters in the past, and I would say I've played with, like, I want to say with, like, 3 different dungeon masters, and out of all 3 dungeon masters that I've had, he was my favorite, because he always knew how to take control of, like, he always knew how to keep his players in line, and knew where to lay down the law, but he also knew how to, like, make sure that we were having a good time, and make sure that we were never in a situation where we were, like, doomed or anything like that. Like, he always had, like, some kind of plan, or some kind of, like, ulterior motive to make the game as fun and enjoyable as possible for us. And he was a real inspiration to, like, you know, like, just, like, you know, making things player-friendly. Like, I really respected the way that he handled it. He had a lot of, he just had a lot of class when it came to being a dungeon master, and I would say that, you know, I would definitely, if I had time to play Dungeons and Dragons again, I would try and find out if he was, like, still available as a dungeon master, because he was really good at what he did. I enjoyed a lot of the stuff that he set up for us. It was a lot of fun. Rest of my group ran in fear. I rolled a 20 for the fear, and I was built like a one-man army. That's pretty cool, Troll Warrior. I gotta admit, that's pretty cool. I can think of, like, a time where we went into a dungeon, and we had to fight a what's it called, a cube slime. And, like, for anybody who in here who is a seasoned Dungeons and Dragons player, when you hear cube slime, it should strike fear in your soul, because cube slimes are one of the scariest, badass monsters I've ever had to fight in a Dungeons and Dragons campaign. They are so strong, and they mess up everything. Like, they are, like you know, you hit them with a sword, and that sword is gone forever. Like, that really nice weapon that you use to slice that cube, like that cube slime in half, and now it's 2 cube slimes that you have to fight instead of 1 big one, and also the sword you use to do the damage is now gone forever. Like, it's awful. Like, you do not want to be on the wrong side of a cube slime. They are so scary. And, oh, hey, Eduardo, good to see you, man. Glad you came in and joined us. I'm painting a island today. So, yeah, we're just kind of hanging out. I'm painting away, and we're also talking about Dungeons and Dragons and all of our fun experiences with playing Dungeons and Dragons. But yeah, I had a campaign with that guy that I was talking about, the Dungeon Master, who was really good at being a Dungeon Master, and he made us go up against a cube slime. And the thing is like we were all scared because we all knew about like how scary cube slimes were, and like I remember my team was just because I played with like only two other people. It was a 3-person team, and one of our members was like, "Nah, dude, I'm out of here. Like I want to bail." And I was like this is just the kind of player I am when I'm in Dungeons and Dragons. I'm like, no, like let's do it. Like we can do it, guys. Like you gotta believe. You gotta believe. And I was like, we can take it. Like come on. And like he was like, no, dude, like cube slimes are so scary. Like we gotta get out of here. And I like legitimately like pulled him aside because we kind of like sometimes have meta talk, you know. And I basically said to him, I was like, listen, dude, like if this monster was not able for us to be for us to kill, I think that our dungeon master wouldn't really put us in front of it, you know. So I was like, let's just try it out. We'll see what happens. And so I was like the first person to go at it, and it was really risky. We actually basically kind of all like equipped like crappy weapons that we didn't really care about because we knew that they were going to be destroyed in the process. And we managed to take that thing down. Like it took some time, but we did it. And we even had like some special mechanics. Like he gave us like for our characters and stuff like that. Like we had special superpowers and stuff like that, where like we would have basically like an ultimate skill that would allow us like where we were allowed to kind of like come up with our own homemade ultimate skill, and then we would like we explained it to our dungeon master, like because he's like, I want you all to make your own ultimate skill, and we would all kind of like try to come up with a relatively well balanced ultimate skill. And we, you know, and after a while we kind of had to do some haggling with our dungeon master to make sure it wasn't overpowered and stuff like that. But it came in handy because we would come up against these monsters like, you know, like the cube slime, and we would be in serious trouble, and then we would pull out our ultimate, and it would end up make us like totally okay, and we would have everything under control again. So we did all sorts of fun things like that. It was a good time. It was a really good time. Let me just kind of I'm just kind of adding some more of this light blue color down closer to the bottom. And I'm kind of running out of the light blue color. I might have to like make some more because it's getting pretty dry on my end. But that's all right because even though it's really dry, I can still kind of like do some shading with it on the side here, which is what I wanted to do. So I'm just kind of desperately trying to soak up the very last of this light blue color that I'm using. And I'll probably make some more of it in a little bit. It depends. I'm going to kind of focus a bit more on some of the other details in this particular piece first. But I did want to kind of just use up the last of the blue. Just so I don't really have to worry about it right now. So we'll come back. And I gotta say, like, right away, like, I can already personally tell from my personal view of this card that it looks so much nicer than the first version of this card that I did. I'll even, you know what, at the, when I finish painting this island, I'll even pull out the original and we can even, like, compare the two of them against one another. So I can see we're coming up to the 1 hour mark. Let's see here. I'm going to kind of read through the chat a little bit. You have to, as a playgroup, be adults and work together to make sure everyone gets what they want out of the game and have fun. Yes, I agree, Scorpgeist. And I've played with people who were not fun to play with, so I definitely know what you mean. Like people who wouldn't necessarily want to do what the rest of the group is really wanting to do, and like I've also had like played with like really selfish people as well. Who would like kind of want to do their own thing and go completely against what the group is doing. So, you know, you gotta have to make sure that you have a group that legitimately wants to have a good time, and, you know, everybody wants to kind of contribute to the group and make everybody happy in the process, you know? So, like I said, like that group that I played with, they were the best group I think I've ever played with because it was very well balanced. We all really liked hanging out with one another, and we just kind of wanted to have a good time overall, and we all contributed to each other's happiness in the process. So it was really good. The fun part is handled by Rule Zero. The rule books are just guides the group can alter or throw out whatever works, whatever doesn't work for them. Yeah, that's also a big deal, Scorpgeist, is because like I said, like the thing is like the Dungeon Master always has the right to fudge dice rolls and fudge rules and fudge numbers and things like that to make everybody else happy. And that's really important. I remember, because like I said, like my play group was just me and 2 other people, but there were times where we would try and get other people to join us, and every time we would invite a new person, like every person we tried to invite just never quite worked with the rest of the group. And we had this one guy who was like constantly like trying to like enforce rules on people like all the time, and it was not fun, and like we were not having a good time, and like our dungeon master would actually get mad at the guy, and like the guy would argue with my dungeon master. Like he'd be like, well, that's not what the rules say, and like he would basically say to the dungeon master, like, but that's not how the rules work. Like the rules work this way. And my dungeon master would be like, yeah, well, you know what I say to that? I'm the dungeon master, so shut up. Like, and I was like, yeah, don't challenge the dungeon master. Like that's just how it goes. Like you don't do that. Like, you know, like you can say what the rules are all you want, but in the end the dungeon master has the final word of law, you know? Like that's just how it is. Like it's, you know, like you don't challenge the dungeon master on that kind of stuff because he has the final say. And the thing is like I said, like the only time I feel like that would be an issue is if the dungeon master wasn't looking out for the rest of his players. Like if the dungeon master was like, well, I can say what happens, and the sucky thing for my team is this, and this is what I'm going to say. So it's like, well, that's just a shitty dungeon master. So, like, you know, but if you have a dungeon master that's really cool and a really nice guy and wants to make everybody happy, then he has the right to say whatever he wants about the rules, and that's just how it is. Like, and I like that. You know, that's how it should be. So I'm adding in some more white, just kind of keeping you guys updated with the coloration here. I'm trying to make it very, very light colored, because it's only just a small amount of white that's being used here. Just a teeny tiny bit. And it's mostly for these kind of ripples, like these wave ripples that are going on in the background. So I'm just kind of like adding that in. And I'm also going to add in like a bit of a mist as well. Just kind of like that. And the mist is just kind of like floating up towards the top here. So it kind of blends in just a little bit better. Oh, excuse me. D&D's disease is fun to give to those type of players. Yeah. Well, we eventually all kind of like what ended up happening was like that guy, like we gave him multiple chances to play with us. And like the thing is like he like acted like a jerkwad to like the whole group. And so like we didn't really want anything to do with him, and he was like all about like going off and doing his own thing. And like we were just like, well, fine, go off and do your own thing. And, like, me and, like, my 2 friends over here who actually want to play together will do what we're supposed to be doing with the storyline. So, like, he would constantly, like, walk away from the rest of the party. And it was super annoying. And he would constantly, like, do things that nobody else wanted to do and only he would want to do. Alright, no worries, Cinder. It's all good, man. You can just kind of come in and out, and, you know, if you get too busy, don't even worry about it, bro. It's all good. But yeah, he would constantly, like, this guy would constantly just kind of come in and out of our group, and, there was, like, one time where, like, our dungeon master was thinking about kicking him out, and, like, he kind of, like, asked all of us, like, individually, like, we weren't even, like, asked all together as a group. It was, like, he kind of, like, messaged us, like, individually, like, me and the other guys that got along really well, and he was like, hey, like, I think this guy's starting to be a problem. Like, what do you guys think? And, like, we kind of all talked about it, and we all kind of basically were like, well, you know, maybe if we just kind of give him, like, like, I was like, we all kind of talked about it and said, like, we can just give the guy a warning. And, like, you know, maybe he'll understand, like, how we all feel about it. Oh, it's all good, Cinder. Thanks for being in here, man. It's all good. You do you. And so we were just like, well, we don't really want to kick him out. Like, let's just kind of, like, give him a couple more chances and we'll see what happens. And then he just kept on being a jerk and, like, you know, not wanting to do what everybody else was doing. And he didn't want to really take part in what we were doing. So eventually, like, the dungeon master, like, the guy that, my favorite dungeon master, he was just like, yeah, dude, you're out. Like, I don't even want to put up with you anymore. Like, and he was like, I just want to let you know, like, I didn't even want to give you a second chance, but my other members were willing to give you a second chance, so you should be thanking them. But I'm done with you, so you're out. Like, no more. We're done with it. So, like I said, he was a good dude. He was a good dungeon master. Probably the best one I've ever had. So, all right. So I got this top part done, and we're about an hour in. You know, here's what I'm thinking. Since we're about an hour in, I'm going to go for another, like, 30 minutes like, approximately 30 minutes. And after about 30 minutes, we'll see where we are. Because I kind of want to get to, like, just to kind of show you guys what's going on here. I kind of want to get down through this border down here, and this border down here. And I would like to actually start kind of, like, meshing this part of the artwork lower. So I think that if I can get that done within like 30 minutes, I'll probably call it after that. So if that's okay with you guys, like I said, I'm kind of trying to get used to the idea of making these streams a bit shorter and more comfortable. So for me as well as you guys. So I think I'm going to just say that we're going to go for about another 30 minutes. And wherever that 30 minutes takes us, I think I'll probably call it after that. My DM laughed so hard she almost fell out of her chair right now. I might get a cupcake cannon. Oh, is your DM in here too, or is she just kind of like on the side, or is she like, are you just talking with her somewhere else? I'm curious, Richard. I'm curious. Tell me. I actually, like I said, this is a lot of fun because I don't really get to talk about Dungeons and Dragons too often, and it's been about almost a year and a half since the last time I played Dungeons and Dragons, but I have lots of fun, good memories with it. So, you know what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of experiment a little bit. So I'm not gonna mix any colors right away, but what I am going to do is I'm just going to start putting some black. I think I'll start with the black down here instead of way up here. And I'll just kind of spread out some black, and then I'll coat it with a little bit of white to kind of make it, just to see where that'll take us, just to kind of get an idea, because I feel like that I might need a gray, but I don't really want to mess with that right now. I'd rather just kind of experiment with the black and white first. So we'll just kind of play around with that, and we'll see where it takes us. So yeah, but yeah, I haven't I haven't talked with those guys in so long. I actually even still have their Discord. I think they might have gotten do adventures as dogs. That'd be interesting. Recently a group did miniatures with rules called Dungeons and Doggies. I see. That'd be really kind of cool. I'm talking with her in Facebook message. We played the game on Saturday. We were still laughing about it in our group chat. Okay, cool, Richard. Very cool. Next year releasing Cats and Catacombs. That sounds pretty cute. I can dig it. That sounds like a very adorable game. Cats and Catacombs. I like it. So, I'm going to just go ahead and dip into my black color here. Nothing too special. Like I said, if I have to mix another color, I will definitely show you guys that color if I am doing another color. But for right now, I'm just going to stick to the black, and we'll see where it takes us. So I'm going to kind of bring it in down here. And I'm just kind of, like, I actually rubbed off my brush on my palette a little bit so that it won't be too dark. So I'm just kind of seeing what this black is going to be able to do for me as it is right now. With a little bit of white. I'm gonna add some white in just a little bit to kind of contrast the black a little bit. But I'm doing it in this lower part rather than higher up because I think that in the higher up area I'm probably going to have to use more of a gray coloration. The adventure for that is Lair of the Necromeouncer. Oh god, that's terrible. I can dig it though, I can dig it. Oh man, the Necromeouncer. Goodness gracious. Okay. So I'm kind of just reflecting on the black that I put in here. I'm trying to get a better... Just, you know, it's one of those things where I want to, like, paint it down, kind of look at it from a couple different angles, just to really get a better understanding of how it's affecting the rest of the art. I'm also noticing that when I get really light with the black, it gets pretty close to the lighter grayish color. Let me see if I can bring it up just a little bit so you guys can kind of see what I'm doing here. Oh, it's dark. Let's see. There we go. That's a little bit better. As you guys can see right there with the black, what I did was I got really light with it on the shading at the top. And that kind of actually blends really well with the rest of this rock off to the side. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do. I think I'm going to still add in some white, though. I'm not 100% sure yet. You know, instead of adding white, I'm just going to kind of keep working with the black a little bit more, because based on what I'm seeing, I think that black looks really good as it is. So I'm going to just kind of keep adding, I'm also thinking I need blue. Like, because I need to start adding in this water. So, I might have to mix a blue color. Thinking. All right, let's kind of let's bring this palette up. Let's mix a blue. We'll mix a blue together. It'll be fun. Okay, and I'm gonna take a swig of water real fast too. Ah, delicious. Okay. Okie dokie. So let's get to some color mixing here. I think this color is dead. Oh, nope, there's a little bit of color there. Let me test something really quick before I make a new blue. I just want to test something. I thought this color was dead, but now that I know that it's not dead, I kind of want to see how it looks alongside of this other blue color. Oh, it's actually really nice. Maybe I'll use this. Maybe I'll make another blue like this. Okay, so I'm just kind of adding in some of this blue here, and I'm using it just to kind of give me a reference point to the rest of it. I'm also thinking that maybe it's not exactly the right shade, like it could be just a little bit darker. Kind of depends. I think maybe what I'll do is I'll mix a new blue, and I'll kind of add just a little bit of, like, a little less of the Phthalo Green. So let's try that out. Oh, what kind of paint do I use? Okay, well, let me go ahead and show you guys. So first of all, I gotta let you know that I generally use, like, lower quality paint. I buy a lot of my paint at Walmart. So the paints that I'm going through right now are which are called System 3 Acrylic. They're very cheap paints. I usually buy them at Walmart. But I actually just bought some new paints that are also cheap, but they're a different brand, I think. So let me... No, actually, you know what? They are the same brand, because I can see here, this brand is Dollar Rowney. If you guys can see Dollar Rowney right there at the top. And I bought these new paints, which have a different name, but they are made by the same company, Dollar Rowney, and they're just called Simply Acrylics. I have yet to actually open them and use them because I haven't run out of these colors yet. But they're basically my next set of replacements because I bought a yellow one and a blue one because my yellow and my blue are almost gone. Um, so yeah, they're cheaper paints that you can buy at Walmart, and that's what I like. I like using the cheaper paints. I don't care what anybody says. However, I do actually have more expensive paints. You'll notice that I'm using this Patholo Green down here. So this Patholo Green is actually a higher quality paint, which is called Ultrachet, or some Utrachet or something like that. And it's a very high quality acrylic paint. I'm not totally sure where you can buy these, but these Utrachets, I have actually a whole painter's box full of these fancy Utrachet paints. And they were all given to me as a gift by my stepmother. So, by the way, today is my father and my stepmother's anniversary. So, yeah, they are celebrating their anniversary today. I asked them if they wanted to come into my stream, but they're like, no, we're too busy celebrating the anniversary. And I was like, okay, well, you guys have a great anniversary. So, I love my parents, my father and my stepmother. And, but yeah, my stepmother, she gave me these very fancy paints, which I barely ever use. I try not to use them that much because they're very expensive and they're very nice. This campaign we are doing is this DM's first one, so I made a fun character, non-optimized super murder hobo. Yeah, I generally make characters that are fun. I don't really do min-maxing. That's not really my jam. I'd rather just have a good time. Just wanted to say I am having a great time listening in while I pick out the cards I want to get signed at Magic Fest Vegas. Very cool, Rebecca. Well, I hope you have a great time at Magic Fest Vegas. Let me know how it goes. You're going to have to send me lots of pictures of Magic Fest Vegas because I've never been to something like that before. That sounds like a lot of fun. So send me some pictures, girl. I have heard good things about both of those paints. Okay, yeah. Like I said, I just like to go for the cheaper paints. They do just fine. Like, they really do. And, like, I mean, I mix, as you might have noticed, I've been mixing, like, my cheap paints with my fancy paint, and they mix just fine. Like, I don't really understand, like, what the difference is between them all that much. I will say that, I think that the fancier paints have a longer lifespan when they're on the palette, in the sense that, they don't dry out as quickly as the other paint, the cheaper paint. But that's the only thing I've really ever noticed. I don't think I've ever really noticed anything that bad about the cheaper paint at all. It does just fine. Like, I like it. I use it constantly. I mean, there's probably some, painting snob out there who will say, well, oh, you don't use fancy paints, well, then you're not really a painter. And I tell that guy, fuck off. Like, like, screw you, dude. I do what I want. Oh, man. All right, so I'm just kind of mixing my ultramarine blue and my Patholo green, and I'm going to actually use much less of the Patholo green this time, just because I think that'll give it a better effect to the blue coloration. Happy anniversary. Yeah, I will. My parents, both my stepmother and my dad, have expressed that they like you, Rebecca, when they've seen you in the chat. So I will let them know that you wish them a happy anniversary, and I'm sure they'll be glad to hear it. And yeah, like I said, send me those pics, girl. I want to see them. I would love to see what a Magic Fest in Vegas would be like. It's funny because I've actually been to Las Vegas like 4 or 5 different times. But you know what's really funny about that? Every time I went to Vegas was before I was 18 years old. So I never really got to do anything truly fun in Vegas. I mean, I got to see like shows and stuff like that. But I never really got to partake in any of the truly fun adult activities that happen in Vegas. So, but the cool thing is that my stepmother and my sister are basically together planning a family reunion in Las Vegas. I think next year, like next year in the summer. So I'm kind of really looking forward to that because I would love, like, because I'm 28, so I would love to actually go to Vegas now that I can actually go and partake in all of the fun Las Vegas adult activities. So that would be just a lot of fun. Um, Sadly, I doubt that I would actually be able to like see anything as cool as like Magic Fest, but I would still have a good time in Vegas, and that's what I really want to do. So that's going to be the plan. Is this next coming up summer? I think it's next summer. I'll have to look at that email again because my sister and my stepmother were planning it together. So I would love to go to Vegas and actually go crazy like you're supposed to in Vegas. I'm trying to get that light on there a little bit better so I can see what I'm doing here. So basically, I mixed my new color, and I'm just kind of like trying to implement it into this painting. And the idea is that it's supposed to be a much darker color, so we'll have to probably play with the hue a little bit, but we'll see. I think it looks alright so far. A shed has been once, and I have never been yet. Okay, get them to plan it around Magic Fest next year. Yeah, well, we'll see. I can't exactly remember. I'll have to look at the dates again. But they're trying to plan like a big family reunion, and I was like, that sounds like a lot of fun. And I get the impression that a lot of it is going to be paid for probably by my sister and my stepmother. It's actually really funny. One of the things you'll learn about my family is my family is filled with a lot of very powerful women financially. So my sister and my stepmother basically make all the cheddar in our family, and which is kind of funny. I always thought that was really kind of interesting, and that's not a problem. There's nothing wrong with that. I like it. But yeah, so they're kind of like basically putting their time and their money together to figure out like a proper family reunion that they want to do. And, that sounds pretty good to me. I mean, I would love to do it, so by all means, like, I'm ready for it. Take me. Take me to Vegas, baby! That's what I want! I want to go to Vegas! It's interesting. I'm implementing this new blue, and it looks fantastic on this side of the card. It looks so good. It's matching very, very well with the rest of the card. I'm just kind of, I think I need some black now. Get them. It is free to get in if you were there. Well, that's good to know. I'll have to find out. I'll have to see when, when Magic Fest is happening versus when the reunion is supposed to be planned. Oh, that's not the color I wanted. I started using the wrong color. So let me get the right color on my paintbrush. I assume that the way that they make money is by going and, like, purchasing things, like going to the booths and stuff like that. Which could be fun. I mean, especially if there's, like, I do know that it's getting weird because I feel like a lot of the magic artists are boycotting the various different, like, Magic Fests and stuff like that. So, I mean, it could be that I might not be able to actually see any interesting magic artists, but, there might be a few there. I don't know. Could happen. So I'm just kind of using black right now to kind of put in some rock formations here and there. And kind of went a little crazy with this blue over here, but that's all right. I'm making it work. Just kind of spreading the black out, making sure it's shading everything properly, and kind of drifting off into the background, off in the in the distance over here. It's hard to see with the camera. Let me bring it a little closer. Basically, what I'm doing is there we go. I swear it'll be so much nicer. I'm actually getting ready to order a high quality camera so that you guys can see a lot better what I'm doing. But if you can kind of see it, you can see like these black rocks over here in the distance, and they kind of have like a bit of a gray shading to them. That's basically what I'm setting up over here on the sides. And there's some also other rocks down here on the bottom, but they're really hard to see, so I'm going to have to probably lighten them up with some white coloration. So that's what I'm working on, just to give you guys a better idea of what I'm working on currently over here. Alright, let's see. So, I'm going to add in some more black. I'm just going to kind of fill in all the areas that need black. Ooh, that's very, very dark. I didn't want it that dark. That's alright. Let me just kind of spread it out a bit. And then, and what's nice is too is that I can just kind of go over it with some white a little bit later. And it'll work out. It'll work out just fine. There we go. And now I'm kind of like bringing it down closer to this area and darkening it along this. And it'll work nice because, you know, I'm being darker with the black on the lower areas, but lighter on the top areas, which is kind of giving it this nice gray shading. And I can see that I'm still going to need white. But, you know, it's fine. Let me actually work with some white here. I keep saying that I need white, and I'm not using any white. Some good names: Steve Argyle, Mark Poole. That'll be interesting. I'm currently working on a John Avon piece, by the way, for anybody who's curious. Yeah, Mark Poole would be real. Oh, you know, I keep wondering if Alan is going to come into my streams again because you know you brought up Mark Poole. Check this out. You guys want to see Mark Poole? I just got this in the mail a few days ago because me and Alan were talking about this. Check that out. For anybody, it's here. If I take it out of the wrapper, you might be able to see a little better. Natural Selection. There it is in all of its glory. So basically, what's been going on is for anybody who might be in my public Discord. Might already know what's going on, but let me just break it down for you guys right here on stream. Alan is interested in having me paint a full altar for him of Natural Selection. So the way that I do full altars and things like that is I get a lot of different reference pieces. Yep, you're right on it, Bo. Definitely a collector's edition. And I don't care, that's fine. And that's the thing, too, is Alan is very aware that the collector's editions are relatively cheap. But he said that that's not what he's interested in. He legitimately wants a full altar. Like, it's not just about, you know, it's not as simple for him as buying a collector's edition. He basically explained to me that the Natural Selection that he wants me to paint for him is a commemorative piece for him and his best friend, because the art of the card itself means so much to him and his friend. So, he said, like, you know, like, he can't buy an original one, which would be ideal, but he can't, you know, do that. And the collector's edition is not going to work out for him either. So I bought this collector's edition of Natural Selection for myself because I'm using it as a reference piece. It's going to help me paint the one that I'm going to do for Alan. And I'm going to do a couple other things. I'll probably end up doing a sketch and things like that as well. But I just wanted to get my hands on that just so I could have that available to me so that I can, you know, work on painting it. So that's why I got that. And it's Mark Poole. Obviously, that's how I thought of it, was because we were talking about Mark Poole being there. You know, if I ever had a chance to meet Mark Poole, I might actually have him sign something like that. I don't know. I'd probably have to pay him, but that's fine. He deserves to get paid for something like that. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look around. I bet you I have, like, I'm pretty sure Mark Poole did a whole bunch of, like, lands and stuff like that, which would be really cool to have him paint as well. I mean, paint. To have him sign is what I meant to say. You know what would be kind of cool is if I had something by Mark Poole and I painted it, like, painted over it, and then had Mark Poole sign my painting. That would be kind of cool as well. I don't know if that would be appropriate or not, but I think that would be kind of cool. I don't know how he would feel about that. I'm such a fan of yours that I painted your artwork. Can you sign it even though it's not yours anymore? Sure. That may be a funny little interaction with him. Alright, so I'm kind of adding in this white. It's definitely helping out a lot. which is nice. So I'm going to add some more white to a couple of these other rocks as well. And then I'm probably going to have to end it, guys. I know that this piece is nowhere near done, but we're getting up to that hour and 30 mark, and I didn't get anywhere near where I said I was hoping we would get, but it's just I gotta do it this way. This is how I think I'm going to have to start doing these from now on, and that's all right. Because honestly, I'm feeling a little bit tired as well, so I think this will probably be a pretty good habit to get into, and it'll also help with the overall, just how the streams are going to be done from now on. I think it'll help a lot as well. So I hope you guys don't mind that I'm probably going to be cutting it off here in a little bit, even though it's not the normal full length that I go, and obviously it's nowhere near being done. You send me one, I'll try and get. Oh, okay. Well, we'll see. I'll look around in my collection and see if I can find like a really nice Mark Poole piece. When are you going to Vegas, Rebecca? When is that happening? I'm going to add in a little bit more black. I kind of want to cover in a couple more areas here, just to kind of make sure that I fill this area in down here, so it's relatively, well put together. And like I said, what I'll be doing is, so I work tomorrow, but after tomorrow, I will probably be doing a stream because tomorrow's Tuesday, so I'll probably be doing a stream on Wednesday and probably Thursday as well. But I do have to let you guys know that I am about to have a complete work schedule change. And this is important because that means that because my work schedule is changing, I will also be changing when I do my streams. So you guys will probably need to know this. So my new work schedule is going to be that I will be working on Sundays, Mondays, and Tuesdays. So that means that I will have the ability to stream on basically every other day, like other than Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That's 4 days in a row where I'll be able to probably do streams. So you guys can probably get used to the idea that once I'll be changing into that new schedule this next coming week. So I'm going to have my normal schedule, which is I will work tomorrow, and then I will have Wednesday and Thursday off, which I'll be doing streams, and then I will be working Friday, and then I'll have Saturday off, so I'll probably try to do a stream on Saturday, and then after Saturday I'll be working Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then that'll be my normal work schedule constantly, so those days I will not stream. I might be a little unclear about that, but I'll also, for any of you who are in my Discord, I will also be putting up that schedule so that you guys can be aware of the days when I will be able to stream and things like that. So I'm just going to put in a couple more details, just a couple more, and then we'll call it, okay? I'm going to rub that off, just like that. Just kind of lightly put that in like that. And I'm going to go ahead and add that in as well. I'm sorry, I'm one of those people where it's like, oh, I know I have to finish, but I want to do this. I'm that kind of person. Let me see if I can kind of fit that in as well. There we go. That looks nice. Okay. I think I have to call it for now. I think that's it. I think I'm all right with that, how it is right now. So, all right, guys. It's about a minute and 30... It's about an hour, 34 minutes. So I'm going to basically just kind of show off what we've done so far. I'm going to bring it a little close to the camera so you guys can kind of see it just a little bit better. And we've done a lot of cool stuff with this piece. Like, we've actually done a lot of the main details for the artwork. It blends really nicely. I actually think right away it looks better than my original one. So we're going to have to do, when we come back, we'll be doing the whole bottom half of this, which, like I said, I'll be back on Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, and we'll try and finish up this piece. We'll probably be doing all of the bottom parts here. It'll be a lot of fun. So, yeah. And let me read some comments here. All right. Send me one. I'll try and get it signed. I read that. All good. Have a good one. All right, Scorp, take it easy. It was nice having you in here. Oh, it's okay, Richard. You'll see me soon. I'll probably see you. I'm going to go ahead and assume that Mike will probably be streaming tonight. So I'll see you in Mike's stream. And for the rest of you as well, I'll probably see you in Mike's stream. You'll be leaving on 8:22, so that's really soon. All right, well, you know what, Rebecca, I will go through my collection tonight, and I'll see if I can find a favorite Mark Poole piece of mine. And like I said, I probably won't paint it. What I'll do is I'll see if I can mail it out to you, and hopefully you'll get it relatively soon. And if you would be a darling, if you would be an amazing darling, and you could get it signed for me by Mark Poole and then send it back, I will love you forever and ever. Okay. but don't tell a shed, okay? Because I love him too. I do. I can't. It's not that I'm worried about what he'll think if I say that I love you, Rebecca, but I'm worried about what he'll think that means with the love that I have for him. Okay, from what I heard about Mark, he will love to sign something if his have made better. He's really big on helping newer painters, some for John Avon. Okay, that's good to know. Well, I don't know. I will pick out a Mark Poole piece, and if I have the time to paint it before Rebecca goes to the Magic Fest, I will send her a painted card and see if she'll get it signed by Mark Poole. That might be kind of cool. We'll see how it works out. I will miss my Mondays with Habs. Oh, that's okay. We have a bunch of other days. Like I said, starting after this week, like I'll still be doing a stream on Wednesday and Thursday. But after this week, my streams are going to be let's see. My streams are going I'll still have Wednesdays and Thursdays. So I'll have my streams from now on after this week will be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Those 4 days. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. All right. So, all right. So I'm going to wrap it up, guys. I promise. So I'm going to go ahead and say my classic stuff, which is make sure you like and subscribe. And if you're interested in donating, my PayPal information should be in the description below. So if you want to donate money just to help me out because you like hanging out, go ahead and do so. It's much appreciated. I will definitely give you a shout out if that's what you want to do. I will also say that if you are interested in buying a commission, and by the way, guys, I also have to say, I will be doing a real commission relatively soon. The only thing that's holding me back on doing the commission is the card that I'm doing the commission for has not been sent out to me yet. So I'm still waiting for it to arrive in the mail. And once I get it, I will be doing a special stream for my very first ever commission. So look forward to that, guys. But if you want to request a commission, I highly suggest that you contact me in my Discord for my channel, and we'll negotiate, and then we'll figure out the payments from there on into the Discord, okay? And I'll just go ahead and end on this note. Thanks for the stream. All right, thank you, Bo. I want all the Bo coin. I'm going to be rich on Bo coin. All right, so I had a great time hanging out with you guys. Thanks so much for coming in. And like I love to say every time, follow your dreams, because if you follow your dreams, they'll get you right to where you need to be. So take it easy, guys. Have a nice night. I'll see you later. Bye.